Hey everybody, welcome back to a special Sunday episode of A Cow's Opinion, where the cow goes over what Blizzard is doing to screw up lately. That's not what the point of this channel's news segment is supposed to be. I'm supposed to be talking about a lot of different stuff. But Activision Blizzard can't stop screwing up, baby, so here we are. I don't know why I called you baby, but hey, you could hit that like button if you appreciate me a little bit. So again, we're not supposed to just be talking about Activision Blizzard 24/7 on these news segments while also providing you with some fun Let's Plays. But again, they just keep giving me content. I can't stop. And as you know right now, the biggest news out of Activision Blizzard and their train wreck of dumb decisions is that the long-promised Overwatch 2 PvE mode has been axed. Cut, finata, it's done. It's not happening. And it's unfortunate that it's not happening. That was the thing that was going to get me to play Overwatch 2, man. That was something I was really looking forward to. Some single-player progression as well as with teammates. Because, you know, competitive is something that I dabble in on these games. And I play a little bit, but it's not the huge point for me. I'm not into League of Legends. I'm not into any of these other games. Well, I was into Stonehearth. And, okay, I used to be a really big Blizzard fanboy up until they just kept screwing up everything. This is the latest in a long line. When was the last time you saw anything substantial about Arclight Rumble, huh? When was the last time that the MMO didn't have some kind of problem? When was the last time that Blizzard kept its promise? It's been a while. So we're going to take a look at this and go over it because Overwatch 2 game director Aaron Keller provided more insight recently in a very long blog post. Now, he's saying canceling PvE outright isn't accurate, which is correct, but let's go through that blog post because we have his statement from just Friday. Hey all, it's been an emotional week in the world of Overwatch. A few days ago, we talked about our change in approach to PvE in Overwatch 2 and released a high-level roadmap for the year. We're really excited for everything we'll be launching soon, but much of the discussion has been about how we're canceling PvE outright, which isn't accurate, so I want to take some time to discuss some of that with you here. So earlier last week, Kaplan used to be there, and now he's not. That's when Blizzard really started screwing up with Overwatch. But Aaron Keller and two other guys were on, and they were talking about just like the roadmap, and they decided to break the news that they were canceling a lot of the promised content that was the justification for Overwatch 2 instead of just adding on more features to Overwatch 1. When we announced Overwatch 2 in 2019, the idea for the game was centered around the PvP game we released last October, and on the PvE side, story missions and hero missions. Now it's 2023, but I will give them the benefit of a doubt. There was a little global pandemic that screwed everything up. Story missions focus on fast-paced co-op gameplay, as well as story, cinematics, and cutscenes that expand the world of Overwatch. It's that lore that we've been begging for, man. Story missions tell a linear narrative about the heroes of Overwatch reuniting and battling the new no-sector threat. Well, some of these guys are villains. Why would they help? Well, I guess we'll never know. Pushing the story of Overwatch forward for the first time since our original game released. That was what we were excited about. These missions take place on huge maps with new enemies and new cinematics. We will begin to release them in Season 6. The work done here is amazing, leaps and bounds above what we've built for PvE previously in our game, and I can't wait for players to get hands on them. We'll be sharing more details in the coming weeks. So when he said that canceling PvE is not true, this is what he meant. The story missions are still going through. This next part is what they're getting rid of. Hero missions, or hero mode, on the other hand, encompassed an in-development game mode that allowed players to upgrade individual heroes through talent trees, providing a deeply replayable version of PvE in Overwatch 2. It was a really exciting concept, something that not only resonated with players, but the team was passionate about and really dedicated to. This is the mode we're no longer moving forward with. This is what we're losing. To give you some context for this change, I'd like to talk about the past and origins of Team 4. They're the guys at Blizzard who are making the game. The Overwatch team was founded in the wake of a canceled game at Blizzard called Project Titan. That game had many facets, but at its heart, it was an FPS MMO. It was very ambitious, too. was very exciting to hear, but they couldn't find the fun, and apparently they can't find the fun here. Blizzard just can't find fun lately, you guys. The Overwatch team, especially at its inception, considered itself an MMO development team. As we transitioned away from that original concept and started creating Overwatch, we included plans to one day return to that scope. We had a crawl, walk, run plan. Overwatch was the crawl, dedicated PvE version was the walk, and an MMO would be the run. It was built into the DNA of the team early on, and some of us considered that final game a true realization of the original vision of Project Titan. Look, World of Warcraft is still doing well, but it's not at the heights it used to be. And Blizzard Entertainment is 100% knowledgeable of the fact that they don't release a lot of games very often. So to fix that, they need stuff like Hearthstone, they need stuff like Overwatch, and they need stuff like World of Warcraft with continuous content streams to help fund the Diablo 4, the new StarCraft, the new Warcraft, whatever other games they're going to be making. They need that continuous revenue. When we launched Overwatch in 2016, we quickly started talking about what the next iteration could be. Looking back at that moment, it's now obvious that we weren't as focused as we should have been on a game that was a runaway hit. Instead, we stayed focused on a plan that was years old. Work began on the PvE portion of the game, and we steadily continued shifting more and more of the team to work on these features. Things rarely go as planned in game development. We struggled to find our footing with the hero mission experience early on. Scope grew, we were trying to do too many things at once, and we lost focus. The team built some really incredible things, including hero talents, new enemy units, and early versions of missions, but we were never able to bring together all the elements needed to ship a polished, cohesive experience. And look, nobody's saying that game development does not change, but here's the thing. They were aware months before they made this announcement, it's come out, that this was not happening. They were selling Overwatch 2 on the promise of something that was never going to happen even then. We had an exciting but gargantuan vision, and we were continuously pulling resources away from the live game in an attempt to realize it. I can't help but look back on our original ambitions for Overwatch and feel like we used the slogan crawl, walk, run to continue to march forward with a strategy that just wasn't working. We had announced something audacious. Our players had high expectations for it, but we no longer felt we could deliver it. We needed to make an incredibly difficult decision, one we knew would disappoint our players, the team, and everyone looking forward to hero missions. The Overwatch team understands this deeply. This represented years of work and emotional investment. They are wonderful, incredibly talented people, and truly have a passion for our game and the work that they do. Guys, don't go find Overwatch team members on Twitter and LinkedIn stuff and harass them. They didn't do this. Blizzard did this. Blizzard continuously promised something that they were already thinking of getting rid of. And they sold you Overwatch 2 knowing at the time, well, we're having trouble getting this done. It may not ever come out. But let's tell them it's coming out. This is Warcraft 3 Reforged all over again. A promise that they're not even sure they can deliver and just hoping that some kind of magic spell makes everything happen. But they weren't high enough level to cast the wish spell, so now we're here. Lastly, people have wondered why this announcement came at this time. After Overwatch 2 had launched, we started refining our plans for future seasons. As those plans grew, we tried to find ways to make all of our ambitions fit together in a plan that we believed in. We couldn't. And we also knew that we couldn't go back to pulling people away from the live game in service of that original vision again. So we made the difficult decision to cut hero missions and started planning for the future. From there, we needed to update the vision for the game, gain confidence in our new direction, and roll out the changes to the team. The decision was the start of a long process, not the final piece of it. This has been hard for us, but as the director on this project, I have to do my best to make decisions that put the game and the community first. Wrong. Even when those decisions are disappointing. Duh. In this case, I had trouble pivoting away from a vision that just wasn't working, and for that I would like to apologize to our players and to our team. I'm sorry. I'm not going to make fun of this, because whether he means it or not, apology is necessary when this kind of thing happens. By the way, this stuff is coming in Season 6 and we're in Season 4, so that lets you know how far away it is. We are focusing our efforts and our passion into making this game an ever-evolving experience. We are still committed to building many of the elements we talked about at BlizzCon 2019, including the story missions that delve into the next chapter of the Overwatch universe, new types of co-op content that we haven't yet shared, and new stories that we're planning to tell both in and out of the game. We're excited about this direction, and we can't wait for you to finally get to experience what we've been building. Some of that stuff sounds good, but out of the game makes me wonder if you're just going to try to sell comic books again. I mean, if you want to do more cool animated stuff, that's great. People actually love that. But trying to make people buy comic books to tell the lore and story of the game that you're not putting into the game is kind of a cheap way of charging them extra. Overwatch was born from the ashes of Project Titan. It was a moment of metamorphosis for the team and the project, and something beautiful came out of it. This is another moment of change, and the future of Overwatch will be born of it. There's 880 comments. We're going to come back to that. So again, this is just, going along with the blog that we just read. Jeff Kaplan stepped onto the Blizz cage. It was kind of a cage, despite all his rage. But in 2019, Jeff Kaplan, very beloved by the community, who is not with Blizzard anymore, probably because of the burnout and all the other problems that they've had. And he talked about all the really cool stuff they were doing with a really great video that turned out to never be coming. Sounds familiar because that's kind of Blizzard's MO recently, and it sucks. It would have shared a multiplayer universe with the OG title. That way, players who didn't want to shell out extra for the PvE sequel wouldn't get left in the dust. Remember, Overwatch 1 was supposed to still be supported. The whole point of buying Overwatch 2 was the PvE stuff. But over time, it became clear that we weren't getting what was promised. And when Kaplan left Blizzard, Keller took over, and Overwatch 2 became the standalone sequel that would replace Overwatch 1 entirely. If you remember, people weren't happy about that. And it was this week that they confirmed that the expansive PvO would never happen, and instead they're going to focus more on PvP. Now, story missions are still happening and more details are coming. Remember, they have recently announced, audaciously, BlizzCon for this year, so I guess we'll get more information then. And this is the ending blog that we were reading. And, he's talking about how all the stuff we just read. He ends the blog post with flowery language about Overwatch being born from the ashes of Project Titan, and how something beautiful came from it. This is another moment of change, and the future of Overwatch will be born out of it. Unfortunately, Kotaku's author, who I'm actually going to agree with a bit this time, I'm not sure I'm as hopeful as Keller is about the future of Overwatch 2, but I'm always happy to be proven wrong. So let's check some stuff out, shall we? This guy is talking about how his priority should be build on the already existing PvP formula and make the game more accessible to more platforms. This guy is talking about how it's a brief history on where the team's been. I find myself saying, why couldn't you get more resources instead of cannibalizing your own team? The game was making a great profit. It was. Overwatch 1 was making a ton of cash. And if you remember, honestly, to take Blizzard's side slightly, Activision was greatly surprised by how well Overwatch did and started asking Blizzard, why can't you release more games like that faster? And a lot of the problems at Blizzard are because the churn and the grind and the releasing the more games the faster. But Blizzard was never a studio that released content like a machine. They allowed their teams to have the time and the dedication to make things better. And that's why we're having all these problems with what Blizzard is doing. So these PvE archetype missions are going to be free? Pressing X to doubt. I think they already said the original PvE would be paid for, but surely they wouldn't charge people for a butchered slimmed down version, right? Do you guys not have phones? Is a remark said by Blizzard Entertainment principal game designer Wyatt Chain during the presentation. Yeah, Blizzard may try to charge extra for these, which would be terrible. Not as much new info as I would have liked, particularly regarding the exact timing when decisions were made. Yeah, There are rumors now in other articles, but I can't substantiate them, that is talking about how they knew a long time before they said this was not happening, but continued to talk about Overwatch 2's great PvE. Still want to know what you've been doing for the last 4 years and why you had to put Overwatch 1 on life support? And why do you still call this game Overwatch 2? Yes, I did come back to say this. Battle Pass! They're going to shill it again. Whole lot of nothing. Yep, this was we canceled everything you cared about, but we have a lot of sites coming soon. TM, blog post we were expecting. I said I'm sorry, so please keep buying the skins now. Too long, didn't read, blah, blah, blah. Any excuse is pathetic. I'm so aware for the people that still believe or defend them. The very end of Keller's speech, prove it. You have yet to give any player an inkling of these promised features you keep telling us about. This goes for every franchise under Blizzard right now, and it's a shame. So much potential, and you refuse to do anything with it. Why should anyone believe you? And why on earth would you give the idea that the game would become an MMO when we all know you can't even achieve the basic promises you announced? Be better, remove the forced FOMO, live up to the promises, and maybe you'll be trusted again. Hi, Aaron, can you give me some details on what you built the last one? Oh, hush! That post could mean something if only Blizzard had credibility left. The first positive thing, I'm down with it. Never cared for PvE, but still looking forward to see if they're able to deliver on this biggest content drop ever. Even this guy who's positive about it is saying, I don't know if they're going to do it in Season 6. Welcome back, Mr. President. Hi, Aaron. Can you give me some details on what you built the last 4 years? I got this. The Battle Pass. Well, it was an honor to stay a part of the Overwatch community. More lies and empty promises in this article. I hope the people who stay get rewarded. GG, go next for me. Same. When they actually follow through with promises, stop forcing FOMO, stop overly greedy decisions, and treat their employees like human. Look, every comment's probably going to be about this, and there's 800 of them, and 80 of them. Good Lord Almighty. Blizzard. You used to be cool, man. I mean, it's disappointing because a lot of talented people spent a lot of time and a lot of effort to make all that stuff. And you know what? They don't deserve the hate that they're going to be getting. This is Blizzard's decision. Blizzard kept taking things away. They made an MMO, they couldn't get it to work. So they made Overwatch out of the MMO. But they were always intending to make the MMO, so they never focused on the golden goose they accidentally stumbled upon, which was Overwatch. And instead of giving us the lore and the PvE and the more heroes, they've taken that content faucet and they've turned it down. And now they have battle passes, which a battle pass on a game that you have to pay $60 for is pathetic. It just really is, you guys. I mean, the latest hero is Kiriko, and she's supposedly a great character, but she was locked behind the battle pass, guys. You had to play a lot of time doing some really weird stuff to move forward in that battle pass to unlock her, or you could just pay money and get her instantly. This is really greedy overreach. If the game was great and didn't have a content drought and didn't have all these problems that people keep running into, I honestly think that most of the community would be annoyed, but like, hey, you know what? It doesn't really affect me if some other guy wants to pay $20 to get a hero early. But the fact that they've locked you into roles, they've taken away 6-on-6 and replaced it with just traditional 5-on-5, and you can't switch heroes as freely, means that you need as many heroes as you can to figure out what you're going to do for the match. And unfortunately, that's not what Blizzard is giving you, even though you keep being told that's what the meta allows. The meta in this game used to be 2 tanks, 2 attackers, 2 others. But now people are trying to run with either 1 tank or 1 support, and they're just saying the game was not balanced for that. It was balanced for 6v6. They've been trying to patch it, but you know, when your game existed as a 6v6 game for years, since 2016, 7 years, it takes a bit of time to rebalance all the heroes for 5v5. And it's not as easy as I think it is, and I don't think it's very damn easy. You guys, I hope that if you play Overwatch, you get all the content they promise and more. I hope that we get lots of cool lore and videos to react to. I hope that we get the game that they keep promising and they stop reaching for the next MMO. Because you know what? They keep saying that they can't build this first-person shooter MMO. But they keep trying to build it, and now we are having a very not fun experience. Let me know what you think below, and I hope you guys have a great week. Play more games! Games are awesome, and you deserve some awesome. I'll see you soon.